Welcome to Harrison's Creek on Major General difficulty. One of the things that happened is I got General Gibbon back. He's a 2-star general. He was wounded, not killed, and I got him back. And he gets his 3rd star in this battle. Harrison's Creek is a really interesting battle. In this battle, I kill 24,000 of the enemy, and I lose just over 2,000 of my own troops and over 2,000 of the Allied troops. So that's what you'll see. You'll see me making aggressive use of the Allied troops. I have several units with 1863s. Most of the 2 corps has 1861s. I've given the 1863s to only my best units. I have a division of cav, as you can see. Really like my cav, and this is a good place for it since I have to pop through a couple of layers of trenches. You only get to bring 2 divisions, and notice I have 3 JF Browns at 350 each. 2 of those units have 3 stars. Those 3 units don't come into the battle. I thought I got all of the first 2 divisions. I did not get all of the first 2 divisions. Really weird. I only got the, well, not even the best. I got the crappiest units. So I don't want any of these weapons. I thought about testing out the 12-pound Whitworth. I thought about it, and I couldn't be bothered, really. The 20-pound Parrot hits twice as hard. So the problem is, instead of killing guns, the cannon just kill men. So while the Whitworth should be the best killer of artillery on the battlefield, it isn't. So I decided to bring in an entire 2nd Corps, because it says you can bring an entire 2nd Corps just to test it. From my previous notes and from watching other people play, I know that you only bring 2 divisions of 2nd Corps, but I wanted to test it again just to be sure, because it'd been a while. Turns out, no. You can't bring the last 2 divisions. Ballast units in this battle increase scaling. I built 2 divisions of ballast units, 500 men each unit, and basically it just drove up scaling 200 men, and that's no good. So I then simply got rid of those. So I want to bring in 1st Corps first, so you have to put them on the right side. Now, I completely don't like how the army, or how the AI spread my army out. And one of the things about this battle is, so I reorganized. And one of the things is that your divisions will be split up. Now, according to my hypothesis, what that means is you're going to lose commanders. And I do lose commanders. So I just go ahead and fast forward. It takes 40 minutes in-game for your cav to show up. And so I want to try to do something a little different in this battle. I have 3 artillery on the right side, and their job is just to take that artillery unit out. And then my infantry and artillery is going to get into the woods, push that infantry unit out after the artillery is destroyed. And then just occupy that, roll the artillery up, and be a nuisance. So it's been about 40 minutes, as you can see. You have way past the 4 hours. I mean, just ignore that. So I've just moved up my army. I have 2 Parrots, 20-pound Parrots, that are just blasting away. I wish I could see his artillery unit, but I can't see him, so they're less effective. But I want to turn both flanks. So as soon as my cav comes in, and it says, our cav managed to get a breakthrough, and you see the blue dots on the strategic map come in, and your cav is here. So I issue orders to my cav, which I edited out that, and my cav is advancing onto the battlefield, and I send part of my cav straight into the enemy because there's artillery and a supply wagon there. His supply wagons in this battle have a lot of supply, so I recommend capturing those, but also I can take out an artillery, and the dismounted units are headed right over to attack the fortification. I want to turn the fortification. And if you hug the left side of the map, you can avoid taking a lot of damage, and that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. I make, obviously, very aggressive use of this, of my allied units. They take a lot of casualties, and I prefer that dismounted skirmishers take canister to the face and not my infantry. Artillery does a lot less damage to your dismounted skirmishers, particularly if they're in woods, than your infantry. Your infantry just takes a lot of losses. So anyway, getting into position, and I have a lot of long-range artillery for this battle, and but I do have one 24-pound howitzer, which is very, very decisive once it gets... I might have two 24-pound howitzers, which the 24-pound howitzer is decisive here, but you need some long-range weapons. So, okay, now that I've started my infantry moving up the hill, and so that it would get there right after the enemy started taking shots from the rear with the Allied troops. And timing was just about perfect. Happens at about 40 minutes in that your Allied troops show up. And I can also see at the top of the map that the artillery unit is just getting smaller and smaller. My 3 artillery units in the north are just chipping away at it, and it'll be dead soon too. So yeah, this is all going amazingly well. So yeah, picked up a supply wagon, wiped out an artillery on the left side with my allied troops, and now these guys, yep, and the guy routes right away. So yeah, I was planning on a big charge, and I had 2 melee cav of my melee cav ready to charge, and yeah, so breakthrough on the far left. So I think one of the key things to this battle is get everybody up the hill and then rest your army. The impulse everybody has, and I have, is to get everybody up the hill. I mean, don't attack into the fortifications that are just to the right. Get everybody up the hill first, recover condition, and then occupy this wooded area and get a bunch of units. And I think I send 4 infantry and all my cav over to the far left, because there's another line of defenses to break. But I'm not going to just charge into it. That's why it's on double speed, because get up the hill, rest. Get condition back, secure the next area. Get your army in place, rest. Let the Allied troops do the fighting in skirmish mode, which is what happened historically. A lot of the fighting took place with the skirmishers to find a weak point in the line and to see how the enemy was deployed. And then, you know, the infantry would maneuver into place and then hit a selected point. That's basically what I'm doing. Very patiently getting units into position, making sure morale and condition stay up. Not in a hurry to secure these woods. The woods will fall. Then I'm going to get the 20-pound parrots up to the top of the hill. Actually, they're going to go all the way to the left side of the map. At least one of them, maybe 2. As my infantry advances, they'll advance slowly, then stop, bring the artillery up, advance again. Very, very set piece, and there's plenty of time. You have until the end of the day, and it's only 8:50, so in the morning. So my dismounted cav can do a really good job here. So I'm sending them forward too. I really wish I had the 3 units of JF Browns with 350 men each. They would have been really decisive in this battle. You wouldn't think they would be, but there were so many opportunities for them, particularly in the end of the battle. And I really wish I'd had them. They would have been quite decisive, but the AI did not give those to me. So when I get all of my cav eventually over to the left, you can see I've moved. And I want to keep my divisions together as much as possible. I mean, you can't, but I'm trying to keep my divisions together because I'm pretty sure you lose more officers if your units are spread out. So, and I do lose. I think I lose 4 officers killed and wounded, which is the worst loss for commanders so far. One of them is a 3-star. So, yeah, the 4 units are up the hill. Now to get the artillery and the cav in place in support. Yeah, I'm really happy with the like I have a 2-star Sharps. You know, the 2-star Sharps has nice range, not as good as the JF Browns. It doesn't fire as fast, it doesn't hit as hard. But that unit has a really good day, and my 2-star JF Brown does real well. Yeah, would have liked to have had 3 more of those. So this clump of woods is fairly secured. I don't care about the objective at all. That makes no difference to me. Want to get the army in place. I just checked to see that the allied unit is actually 10-pound parrots. That's nice. I can make use of that. And keep pushing the allied troops forward to take shots, and keep pushing the JF Browns forward to take shots. And they do. They keep hurting the enemy. They not only inflict casualties, but they hurt morale too. So, yeah, and on the right side, it looks like the enemy artillery unit is dead, so the infantry can start moving. Yeah, what I really miss about the not having the JF Browns have that 3rd perk that gives you great visibility of the battlefield. That is a really powerful perk, because a lot of times his units are hiding in the woods and you can't see them. And I'm real sure for Richmond, I'm going to take, well, I only have 2 units with that 3rd perk, but I'm going to have 1 of those in each of my first 2 corps. Just for visibility, if nothing else. It's I've really started to appreciate the visibility that you get with your skirmisher units, and you know, you get some of that, I guess, with your cav too, and some with dismounted skirmishers. But you know, your infantry is fairly blind, so pretty standard. Have everybody turn at a right angle to, you know, the enemy position, and everybody's kind of sliding to the right, and the enemy position is flanked, and then the enemy unit routes. Yeah, so you can see that happening on the far right of the map, right under the 2 times speed that is on the screen. You know, it just happens. And on the left side, you know, I'm just in the center, I'm just annoying him. I want him to attack my position because I have good artillery there, and but he's sending reinforcements over to his left, my right. I didn't expect that. He sends quite a force over to stop my advance. I expected him to give up his left and reinforce the right, and that might be because I haven't broken his fortifications yet. So he responds to the broken fortifications on his left because his right is holding. Could be, I don't know. So I keep advancing. The Allied units, they keep taking shots, they keep taking canister to the face, too. And I keep slowly advancing my infantry and resting them and keeping morale and condition up. And then moving the artillery up in the woods. This all takes time. The melee cav is in position. And yeah, it's just going great. The dismounted cav is degrading his infantry unit, degrading his... he has 2 skirmisher units over there, and my cav is degrading them. It's just going perfectly. So on the far right, I decide to just draw a line. I did not intend to come out of this wooded area. Just want to get my artillery up. But his artillery and infantry, and this is screwed up. If they had retreated in the sensible, normal direction that they should have, which is back into the army, that would have been better for me. I mean, I'm going to wipe them out because of what they're doing. But what it does is it pulls part of my army away from the attack, and that's just terrible. So on the right, I'm fiddling around with that and peeling off units to attack him. And on the left, I finally turned my cav units loose because all he had over there were some cav and some dismounted or some skirmishers. And my melee cav just ran right over top of him. Infantry, I think that's the Iron Brigade, gets in the woods behind him. 3 really tough units of 1st Division just popped right through that position, and now his flank is turned. He has a cav unit in the far corner that takes a while to kill, but that's what my melee cav is for. So, yeah, it's and now it's just run down supply wagons and inflict casualties behind the enemy line. Now I want to get... this is exactly where I wanted the JF Browns. This is exactly where I wanted them. Here behind the enemy lines, just firing into his position. His units will retreat when they rout over where this little clump is, kind of in this little circle. And that would have been a perfect position for JF Browns just to pick him apart. And yeah, it didn't happen that way. So picked up another couple supply wagons and get out of there. I don't want a prolonged fight. I just saw a chance to pick up some supply wagons, put some shots on the enemy. Right in the middle, I do get the Sharps, and they're doing very good work, firing into the flank of the enemy, his entire position. His units are just routing. The important thing is do not take the flag. So I'm kind of pushing everybody up and moving the artillery up, but I don't want to take the flag. So yeah, we just want to shoot at these guys, inflict casualties, and based on the size, you know, the enemy units weren't oversized, so they weren't like 2,000 each, but they still have some size to them, so they're still like in the 1,000 range. Have to get them down to about 700. Down in this area, I detached, I don't know if you noticed it, but that cav unit chased that infantry all the way down into the corner, and I detached some JF Browns, unfortunately, to make sure that that unit got destroyed, and those two are going to kill the that unit in the corner of the map. So could have really used the JF Browns up here. Would have liked, my intent was for them to cross the river on the right side and come up and, you know, ranged fire. Because what the enemy's going to do, he's going to recover, go back to the flag, retreat back, you know, kind of move south, retreat north kind of thing. And I could have gotten free kills with JF Browns all day doing that, and that would have been really good. So kind of getting the melee cav in position, because I know he's probably going to try to break out. Don't know why, but he probably will. And at some point the melee cav will charge. But I don't want to trigger one of his... his entire army trying to run away. I don't want to trigger that. I just want to sit at some distance and get free kills. And I have plenty of time. I mean, tons of time to do this. Making sure my units are in good cover and concealment. Keep pushing the artillery forward to get canister fire. Even the parrots get really good canister fire, particularly the ones with the long range perk. They get 25% more damage. That was an example of me targeting someone with the sharps, and then something walked in front of it, and then the sharps ran forward stupidly. Be nice if the devs would fix that, because that's really stupid. Fortunately, people in our own community are working on a fix for that, and with a mod, and so we'll eventually get that fixed one way or another. So I want to make sure that I target his artillery with anything I have that has range, because his artillery, man, my 3-star unit just took some hits. So I get him out of there and detach a skirmisher, because you do not want to take canister to the face with infantry. So, and that guy took a hit and routed. For a 3-star, that's something. So I'm just gonna, treat that with a little bit more respect, and not get, keep my units in better cover. Yeah, make sure my 20-pound parrots are picking apart his artillery. He still has 250 men in that unit, and hopefully my plan is my infantry can maybe put some shots on him too and take him out. He's taking now fire on both sides, 20-pound parrots to the rear, and just lost a colonel. Wonder who that was. So, yeah, that's all going really well. And his infantry units are, I'm just patiently picking him apart, and also making sure I do not trip the flag. That would be really bad. Yeah, keep the general up to give the +10 cover. My infantry is now putting some fire on his artillery, so his artillery is doomed. And yeah, it's all going very well. Okay, and it looks like his units are getting really antsy, like they're about to try to do some kind of a breakthrough, and I've been holding my melee cav back. Just lost a brigadier general. A brigadier general was wounded, but the melee cav is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, goes rushing in, and then the last unit is shattered. And that's exactly what the melee cav was being held for right there, for that inevitable moment. So yeah, the enemy took, the AI took, I don't know, 2,000, over 2,000 casualties, as you'll be able to see here. I got 2, yeah, Gibbon gets his 3rd star, so he comes back. He was only wounded in Cold Harbor. He came back, he got his 3rd star, that's great. I lost a wounded 3-star, so okay. Got some CS Richmonds, that's great. I'm using the CS Richmonds, I now have a big pile of them. The supply wagons, $13,000. I mean, and there's a bunch of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's another one, 7. And then there's a couple more at the bottom. I mean, that could be worth, I don't know. It's closing in on $100,000 or something. And Yeah, this looks great. The Iron Brigade, the Iron Brigade has just been taking a lot of casualties because it's my best unit, but I can afford 300. You know, that's the worst hit. Everyone else will probably be able to um, replace their losses without any cost. I have tons of weapons. You can see that my allied units took a lot of losses. The 20-pound parrots, yeah, they did good, especially considering they were firing at artillery in fortifications and in the woods most of the game. They did really well. What's interesting is the perk in long range is not as good as just having 100% efficiency. So my 20-pound parrots that had 100% efficiency did better, and a perk in short range did better firing at long range than my units that had a perk in long range, if that makes sense. Because my units that had perks in long range only had efficiency of maybe 70. So yeah, efficiency is more important than anything. So yeah, here's some allied units. They took some hits, which is what I wanted them to do. They absorbed a lot of losses while my army was able to maneuver and roll up artillery and recover condition. And yeah, they were a huge, huge help. So yeah, CS Richmond's. I expected him to have Fayetteville's here. I now have over 150,000 raw recruits, and I get $162,000. I have over $870,000 before I sell stuff. So, ton of money. And I'll put a 3-star in there just to fill that slot. But that's 5 officers wounded or killed. That's a lot of officers. That's definitely my worst battle. But I expected to lose officers here because the units were so spread out. But I'm looking at the numbers, and the Iron Brigade's going to cost me $20,000 or $30,000, like always. But everybody else is going to get to 1250 easily. Even this unit in 3rd Division that's only 960, that's not going to cost anything. I'll take that guy down to just barely 2 perks, and yeah, that doesn't cost very much. These guys up here are already 1250. Didn't take any losses in 2nd Corps to speak of. Some of the infantry was oversized to begin with, and they bled down to, they're still over 1250 1st Division. So yeah, that's all great. I don't have much to replace. So I have $870,000 and almost nothing to replace. $20,000 or $30,000 in the Iron Brigade, I guess, and to get them back up to full strength and good to go. So yeah, I'm double checking. Yeah, as you can see, 3rd Division doesn't show up. Just to confirm, 4th Division doesn't show up. Yeah, these guys do not show up. And then the first 3 units didn't show up. I don't know why it brought the last 3 and not the first 3. That sounds like a bug to me. I think I should have gotten all 6 units in 2nd Division, but for some reason I didn't. I would have liked to have had those. It would have got an even bigger margin of victory if I had gotten those 3 great J.F. Brown units. I had really high hopes for those guys. So, yeah, you'll notice that in 1st Corps I'm pushing everybody up to 13. I think you get a buff of 12.5% damage. Not entirely sure. So it looks like it's not going to be that bad replacing it's not going to be that expensive to get the Iron Brigade back up full strength. Yeah, 1250 for free, basically, for that guy. I thought that cost me a little bit of money. It's free. Yeah, I think most of this is going to be free. And that's what happens if you go into Harrison's Creek and you only take about 2,000 casualties. It's very inexpensive to get your army back up to full strength. And it'll be almost free. And I'm going to sell a bunch of weapons, so I'll actually make a bunch of money. Next battle, Georgia Railroad, 55,000. I hope ballast units can drop that. Ballast units did not do anything in Harrison's Creek. They actually drove up scaling. I'm hoping that I can drop scaling, or maybe I need to increase the size of my infantry. I don't know. I can do that too. I can increase. I have plenty of money and plenty of weapons. I put the perk in recon, so now I have. Do I have 8? It doesn't give me visibility of every unit, but I can see some of the units that the enemy has. All 3 stars, all good weapons. Actually, why did I bother? I knew the enemy was going to be all 3 stars. Looks like the enemy has 1,500. There's got to be a way to... I'm looking at that. The enemy should be at 1,250, and he's at 1,500, so hopefully Ballast will drop his units down to closer to 1,250. Anyway, I'll see you in the next battle. Thanks for watching.